Hello, and welcome back to the Fit You podcast. I'm Dakota Phillips. I'm the owner of Fit You Coaching, and my goal is always to help you have a more fun and sustainable fitness routine. I'm here with my co host and my wife, Savannah, and today we want to give you a step by step guide to starting a new fun and fulfilling fitness routine. So, we've talked before about starting something new and getting into a new fitness routine and kind of what that's going to entail. But today we want to give you, like I said, that step by step guide as to how to actually start that. So if you're interested in what we're talking about right now, we actually have a PDF that you can go and download. Go to www.fityoucoaching.com/get-the-guide. No spaces, just /get-the-guide. And then that'll give you like a prompt to put your email in, and then we'll send you that email of the PDF, and then you can kind of follow along with us now. It's got like some stuff you can fill out in there to see what you enjoy, and then track the progress of like, is this something I still enjoy even when I'm trying it? But we're going to get into all those steps now today.
Yeah, so step number one always is research. I think this could kind of be a very simple, easy thing to put in. It's just like have it be a little bit more structured. Set a timer, 30 minutes, and get on your phone or your laptop. And I think a really easy place to start is a social media. I mean, you can look at what you've previously liked or saved on Instagram or on Facebook. I feel like everybody that's been looking for like that new way to get active has always seen this stuff on Facebook that they're like, oh, let me just like pin that or save that for later. Like I'll definitely come back to it. So like now is the time. Look back, see what actually piqued your interest. Another easy thing is if there's anything already on your mind, if you're like, oh my gosh, I really wanted to try jujitsu and I just never looked into it, search it on social, go into Instagram and put in explore and just see what comes up. Watch some videos and like take the time to ask yourself a few questions as you go. Mainly, does this bring me joy? Is this something I can imagine myself doing? Is a very big one. And just, is it something that piques your interest enough that you want to keep looking? And if it's something active, like we're talking specifically about something that is supposed to be your fun new fitness routine, I feel like there should be this little edge when you watch something active that you get that kind of itch. Like you should feel a little bit more awake and like focused and like wanting to learn what they're doing and wanting to actually get up and do it. So I would search for that feeling when you're watching those videos.
Yeah, and like Savannah said, the chances are you probably already have something in the back of your mind that you're like, oh, I saw this in a movie workout montage and I thought that looked really cool. Or one of my friends was talking to me about this exercise that they do and I was kind of interested. So chances are you probably have an idea of something you want to try. And that may mean like looking a little bit further into that thing. One thing I'll say is like and we've talked about this before, of like staying in your own path and making sure that if it's something that you enjoy, something that sparks your interest, a lot of times doing something new is scary. So you may think to yourself like, oh, I really want to do that thing, but oh, I could never do that. That shouldn't really be in your vocabulary because, of course, it's going to be challenging the first time you try anything. So go into it expecting to be new, even if it seems like something unobtainable now. If you start down that path, you may find yourself doing things that you maybe didn't see yourself doing, but you always wanted to do. Um, and I know that's the case. Like, we'll probably tie a lot of this back into Mace since that's the main thing I coach. Um, One of my clients, just on this past Friday, we were starting to learn a new combination of Mace movements where at the very beginning, I mean, she's been doing Mace for a long time, but these were new and pretty challenging movements. She started out, she's like, oh man, I don't think I'm going to be able to do this one. This one's just too hard for me. 5 minutes later, after we kind of worked on where the problems were, smoothing things out, she was able to do the whole combination of movements that she didn't think she was going to do in the first place. So take that into consideration too, is just because something seems challenging and you have an interest in it, you may be able to overcome some of those challenges once you have a coach that's able to help you through that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I also think that like doing new things and scary things and things that you might not think you're capable of, like that's always great. And I think that like vocabulary change that you're looking for is like, it's not, oh, I don't think I'm going to be able to do that. It's, oh, that's intimidating.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's fine. Yeah, that is intimidating. But you don't need that added on part of like, I don't think I'm going to be able to. Like, why even put that out there?
Right.
Just say it's intimidating. You can let your coach know that something is intimidating you.
Yeah, for sure.
So after you've done some research, you hit your 30 minutes, pick something. Pick something that you think would be fun. And then from there, it's time to figure out equipment and membership. So you could roll right into it after your 30 minutes. You could take a day to kind of stew over a few of the things that you were thinking about picking and come to a conclusion. I'd say don't give it more than 24 hours. Like you're going to come up with something. There's going to be something that you want to do and you're just waiting to pull the trigger on it. So just do it. So by the next day, figure out in your next round of research what equipment you need. Maybe you need a membership. Maybe you don't have access to a gym and you will need a gym for what you're doing. Maybe you need to go somewhere specific. If you're going to do yoga, you might need to go get a yoga membership, or you're going to need your own mat, your own blocks, whatever you're going to want to use for your yoga practice, which you could look up anywhere online. Like if you are a super novice to anything, blogs, Facebook groups, Reddit forums, that's where you're going to find a lot of people that'll help you figure out what gear you need. But you don't need the membership if you don't want it for some things. You can try things from home. That is the beauty of YouTube. So that's another thing is like figure out what you need, figure out what guidance that you need. That would be whether you need coaching or whether you're going to try to self-coach through videos. Or if you're looking for an online program, maybe you just want an online program. The choices, this is like clearly a lot of choices. So the thing that would help me make the decision is how invested and how quickly am I wanting to try to learn or master this new skill. So for me, if I'm joining in on yoga, if I want to be super good and be able to do advanced stuff really quickly, I'm going to go get myself a yoga membership, and I am going to get myself one good enough that I can be there multiple times a week, every week. If I'm just kind of dipping my toe in the water, I'm going to go on a Facebook Marketplace. I'm going to find myself a mat, and I'm going to plan on bouncing around through some different yogis on YouTube, and I'm just going to watch their videos and follow along from home. If I'm kind of somewhere in the middle where I'm like, I know me, I know I'm going to have no idea what to do on YouTube. I'm going to have no idea what to pick. So I'm going to look around and find myself that online membership where I can still do it from home. It's going to be cheaper than a membership, but I'm going to have somebody curating a few practices a week for me to join in on. So like, think about how invested you are. Think about what level you're trying to get to and how quickly, and pick based on that.
Yeah. And so, I mean, we have your research of what you want to do in step 1, and step 2 maybe involves a little bit more research. Like you said,
but with the end goal of I'm ending this with
right.
equipment picked out or a membership picked out or a plan to have everything I need to get started.
Right. And you can be kind of strategic about what you're choosing there because, like Savannah said, if you're going to choose to buy equipment, maybe consider what your goal is. Like if your goal is you want to become a bodybuilder or something like that, that's going to require like a lot of heavy lifting and things like that. Maybe it's going to be more cost effective for you to buy a membership at the local gym versus you spending $5,000, $10,000 to outfit your garage with tons of different weights and machines, and maybe you just don't have that space too. So that's where kind of researching the gyms is going to be more cost effective rather than having to find a space and all the money to put that in your own house. And then kind of bringing it back to like steel mace with like if you are researching, you discover steel mace, or I'm telling you right now, steel mace is cool, do that. With steel mace, all you really need is a mace. At most, I would recommend 3 maces. I mean, you could get more if you're really wanting to dive in, but to start, I don't think you need any more than 3 maces, probably only 2. Get yourself a light one, 7 pounds, maybe 5, get a 10-pound mace, and that's really it. You can be all in for less than $100 if you're just going to be like searching through the YouTube videos. Like Savannah said, depending on the level of like how quickly you want to obtain these skills. If you want to just kind of go one step above watching YouTube and trying to recreate movements, the like Steel Mace 100 level course that we have on the website is a good one, because then you still are self-paced. It's a little bit higher quality than YouTube because you're getting like an actual coach giving you step-by-step progressions on the movements. If you want to be a little bit quicker with your learning, get a personal trainer, and then you can really dive into all those cues and things like that that are going to be really specific to you. So step 1, do the research on what you like. Step 2, kind of pull that trigger and get the equipment or membership that you need to move forward into trying that new fitness routine.
Yeah. Leading into our step 3 then, because we have picked out our equipment, whether we ordered it online or went and picked it up, it's on its way. You're going to receive it. Now it's time to eliminate the barriers and set yourself up for success. And this is a really important one that like I feel like a lot of people don't take the time to do. And I know myself, I have a hard time, especially on certain weeks when things get busier, because this takes time and it takes energy ahead of time, which is that's the whole point. You're separating that energy that it takes to make the decision, or to go home and pick up your workout clothes, or to pick out the YouTube video, all of those things that take that extra mental energy, you're going to separate it from the actual activity and the workout, and you're going to do it ahead of time. So I know I need to get in the pool this week, and I need to swim. I haven't done it in a while. So I'm going to have my swimsuit and my goggles and my bag with multiple towels. I'm going to have it all picked out. I'm going to have it in the back of my car this week. That way, when I leave work, I can go straight there. I already know the kind of swim workout that I want to do. If I didn't, I would be going online tonight, and I would be taking some screenshots of some different recommendations, so that when I leave work tomorrow, I already have my stuff. I'm driving straight there. I get there. I bring up my screenshot or whatever workout I'm going to do, and I get in the pool and do it. It takes away that whole layer of, I got to go home. Then you get home, you got to get all your stuff on. Do you really want to drive then back to the gym when you just finally got home away from work? And then you're like, well, I got to figure out, what do I even want to do? All of that is gone. All of that is done ahead of time. So that's the same thing I would do if I was going to do a yoga practice. I would pick out my videos for the week at the start of the week, on Sunday or Monday, whenever you want to start your week. Have those decisions made so that you don't have to make them in the moment. Because when you're exhausted at the end of the day, or pulling yourself out of bed first thing in the morning, if you want to work out then, just make it easier on yourself.
Yeah. I mean, the easier you can make it, the less chance you have to say that you're not going to do it, or that you're going to skip whatever it was that you were going to do. Take away all the excuses for yourself so that all that there is left to do is to do it.
Yeah. It could be also a simple thing like having your mace out in the middle of the room. Like if you're going to work out from home, have it in the middle of your living room before you leave for work. So when you get home, it is sitting there right in the center, ready for you. Just give yourself those cues, give yourself that push. I think it goes a very long way in getting you started on something, especially because if you're starting something new, it's a new activity, a new time commitment, and it's hard to get that pattern started and make it become a habit. So you might not need to do this forever. It might be something that, for this week, I haven't swam in a while, so I need to push myself. So I am going to make sure that everything is ready to go and I can't even come home before going there because I need that extra push. But once I'm back into my rhythm again, maybe it's not a big deal if I come home and grab my suit. Maybe I don't need to look up the YouTube videos for yoga ahead of time if after a month of picking them out ahead of time, I've kind of figured out what I like and I have a better idea and I'm able, it's less of a big decision to do it in the moment. So just because you start out eliminating those extra barriers, don't think that if you stop at any point that means you're like doing a worse job at working out. It's just a really helpful thing to do for at least the first month, I think, when you're getting back into something or starting something new.
Yeah. So we had step 1 is research something that you think you would like. Step 2 is pick out that equipment or membership or coach that you want to work with. Step 3, eliminate all the barriers that you can. And then step 4 is implement or start doing that new fitness routine, and then also reflect as you go.
Yeah, so it's definitely super important in that first month of trying something new to be very self-reflective about how you're feeling before, during, and after all of those workouts, because you're trying to figure out whether you like it. You're trying to figure out whether it's something you want to make a more permanent installation in your life. So when you're starting something new, and this is a part of the PDF, we have a little template that you can either fill out physically each day if you wanted to print it out, or you can just take these questions and, in the notes app on your phone, put in the date and answer these questions each time you work out. And you want to kind of track it over the month. So before, during, after. Before, just do like a 30-second body check-in. How do you feel? How do you feel in your muscles? Are you tight? Are you relaxed? Are you exhausted? How is your breathing? Is your mind pretty scattered? Are you ready to focus? Are you struggling? Has it been a really active day at work mentally and you're pretty drained? Just take a moment to recognize where you are before you get started.
Yeah. And see how that changes throughout the workout. Because like you said, maybe you are wanting to work out first thing in the morning. You wake up, get out of bed, you go out to the living room, you grab your mace. You're thinking, dang, I'm really tired. I wish I was still in bed. I set this goal for myself. I'm going to do this mace workout. See how you feel after that mace workout. Before the workout, you were exhausted. You want to go back to bed. After the workout, now how do you feel? Do you feel like you're more energized, ready to tackle the day? You feel like you had fun doing that workout? Or do you still feel exhausted and drained?
Yeah, so it's like do that same 30-second body check-in after the workout is over. Because maybe you still feel drained. Maybe you feel a little bit more alert after doing it in the morning. Maybe this is a moment where you recognize like, oh man, I don't think it matters what I would do in the morning. I need to work out in the afternoon. It's all a learning experience. So change things up. You don't have to do the exact same thing throughout the entire month. But when you are working out, a big thing, and like this, clearly you're not going to be like pulling up your phone while you're in the middle of swimming or yoga, but think about the emotions that you're experiencing. I think it's really helpful to come up with 2 or 3 adjectives to kind of describe where you're at, and don't forget to jot those down when you're done, and then do your 30-second check-in of how do you feel now that you are done, now that you've had a few minutes of rest, now that you're wrapped up. But I think you'll quickly realize whether you are feeling joy or focus or determination, excitement. You might have little bursts of excitement every time you learn something new or accomplish something you didn't think you could do. But then you also might feel frustration. You might feel, I almost want to say like embarrassment, because when you're trying something new, you're going to feel like nobody likes not knowing how to do something, or if when you do something wrong, like, yes, that's going to come along with it. But I think you're going to see as you go along whether you're using more positive or negative adjectives to describe your experience through each workout. But within the reflection, I do want to talk a little bit about frustration, and I want you to chime in a little bit on what you think of kind of the frustration that comes along with doing a new activity for your workout. Where is the line between could I enjoy this and I'm just getting used to it, and what is frustration of like you're just not enjoying the activity, this like it's okay to just move on.
Yeah, I think that's important too, because kind of like along with frustration, there's like that struggle of like you really have to check in and be aware with yourself of like realizing that you're not going to be the greatest in the world, and realizing that there is a learning curve and being comfortable in the learning curve. Because chances are your first workout, like I'll tell you with bringing it back to mace again, your first time doing a mace workout, you may not be doing crazy flips and swinging it behind your head and doing all the things that you see done on like social media and YouTube. You will probably learn some more of the basic movements that build you into some of those cooler, crazier movements. Similarly, if your goal is to become a professional bodybuilder, you're not going to go into the gym on day one, walk out of the gym, and look like the professional bodybuilder that you one day want to look like. It's going to take time, and realize whether or not you're frustrated with the time it's taking you to just overcome that learning curve, or if you're trying something new and you're like, oh man, you know what? Actually, I saw this looked fun. I've given it a like month or so, and this just actually isn't fun, because that's totally possible. You could try something and realize that this is not something that I want to do on a consistent basis. Maybe you find something that you're like, oh, this is kind of fun, but like, I don't really enjoy doing this every day. I want to just kind of come back to this sporadically. I mean, I think for us, that's kind of like rock climbing. We love going rock climbing like once to 3 times a year. That's really fun, but it's not necessarily something that I think I would enjoy doing like 5 days a week. Like I would probably get really strong and probably would help me with my Ninja Warrior competitions.
And we'd be able to do way more complex things when we were there, like much harder paths.
Yeah. But it's not necessarily something that I think would really bring me joy to do 5 days a week. I don't know if you feel the same way, but I love going rock climbing once in a while. Just it wouldn't be my daily activity.
Yeah, I can see that. I also think that a big part of frustration could be how much you're dedicating yourself to it. So like understand that, you know, depending on the level that you're doing it at, like figuring it out on your own from home on YouTube to having a personal trainer that's walking you through it, there's going to be clearly less frustration in the growth portion of it when you have a personal trainer. Like you're just not going to be, because you're going to figure things out faster because you have someone there helping you. So that could also be a portion, like you might be frustrated, but if you're figuring it out yourself, ask yourself whether you're just frustrated because you really want to figure it out and you're just struggling to get there. And then maybe you need to invest more, up that level at which you're trying to learn. Get the online program or go up to a personal trainer. Or on the other side of it, if you're like, even if I got a personal trainer, I'm just like if I had a personal trainer for this, learning the stuff just wouldn't bring me the joy to make that worth it. Then maybe that means it's time to pick something new. Like you really do need to pick something new. Yeah. So I think that's a good question to ask. If you're getting frustrated, are you frustrated because even when you do learn it, it's not going to feel like it was worth all the time and energy? Or are you just frustrated because you want to be learning it faster and you need to up your dedication to it?
Yeah. And I mean, along with the personal trainer too is, I mean, maybe you also need to switch up the personal trainer and not necessarily the activity. Because some personal trainers work better with different personalities.
That's a good point.
And with others. So, I mean, for example, not to toot my own horn here, but one of my ninja clients, I've worked with him several times, and he's told me that he's had several other ninja coaches beforehand, and he really didn't click with any of them. He just got frustrated, and they weren't really like giving him the right cues that really clicked with him. And then when working with me, he was able to click with those cues, and like I was able to tell him the specific things and kind of get through and make those breakthroughs that he wasn't able to get with other folks. Still the same type of exercise, still within that ninja realm, but I was able to maybe offer that advice in a different way that really resonated with him. And that could be the same with anything. If you really have like, we'll go back to rock climbing. If you really want to rock climb and this one coach isn't coaching you quite the way you like, maybe you're somebody that likes a little softer approach. Maybe you're somebody that wants a drill sergeant like screaming, yelling in your face. If that's something you want, then I'm probably not the best coach for you, because I'm not really a screaming loud in your face kind of coach. If I am, that's just because I think that's funny and makes me laugh. But if that's something that you're like, I really need this to get pumped up and motivated.
No nonsense person.
Right. Like if it's like, I imagine that's like powerlifting, like getting ready for a crazy deadlift or something, and they're like slapping each other around, like screaming. I don't really get that to that place. So if you need that kind of coach, I would probably recommend you go somewhere else.
Yeah,
where
go
if somebody,
find them.
Right. And if somebody wanted like a more like slow, methodical, like that's kind of the like in ninja, like I do better with the like slow, thoughtful kind of obstacles, and kind of like piecing them together rather than like a sprinting speed course. So kind of find that coach that also is able to speak to you in a way that you are able to understand those movements, because the coach may not be the reason that you don't like the thing that you're doing.
Yeah. Yeah, I can see that. So yeah, there's a few things, and that's why it's important to do that reflection, at least for the first month, and like why you should be reflecting on your emotions during your workouts, because you could realize quickly that your frustration that you keep having is with the coach, or it's with whatever you're trying to do, or it's with the fact that you're just not understanding the YouTube videos.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's important to ask yourself. So I guess I should really adjust and say, give yourself the adjectives, but try to really give yourself a why. As why are you feeling those things? Because that's going to help you identify whether to push harder, push less, or move on to something new. So at the end of the month, you did your research, you got your equipment, you eliminated those barriers, made it easy to get in and do your activity all month long. Now it's time to ask the big question. After you've reflected individually on all of your active workouts, ask yourself, do I want to keep doing this? Do I want to keep at this activity? Am I enjoying this? Is this something that I am still excited to keep doing, or has it just been harder and harder all month long to get in and do it? So like I said, maybe you need to adjust. Maybe you get to this and you say, I need to adjust. I need to get that membership instead. I need to maybe push less hard. I'm just going to back down to YouTube videos. You can adjust, but that's a yes. That's if there's a part of you that still wants to continue, that's a yes. If you're just not liking it, say no. Say no, and that's not a failure. That is also a success, because you just spent an entire month trying something new. That is amazing. That is such a big success. So either way, great job on finishing an entire month of a new activity. It's really intimidating. So if you said no, time to go back to step one. Yeah. But also sell your equipment and cancel your membership. Don't spend money on stuff you're not going to go to. That's the big thing. I don't want anybody to try something new and then get discouraged because turns out they actually just don't like it and they don't want to keep doing it. And then they spend the next few months after that feeling bad and pushing themselves to do it and going less frequently and then beating themselves up over it. It's a nasty cycle. So after a month, if you think you need to adjust. If you think you're just done and you just don't want to do it anymore, cut your losses. Move on to the next thing. Try something else you might enjoy more. Yeah.
I mean, there's tons of different things out there. Chances are more than one of them is going to spark your interest. So if you do decide that whatever the first thing you tried wasn't quite what you thought it was going to be, there's something else out there that you'll probably enjoy more. And you can kind of go through that cycle until you find the one thing that clicks. And like we said early, think outside the box. I mean, I'm always suggesting steel mace. That's not necessarily what I would consider in the top 5 categories of like, oh, I want to get fit. Which of these 5 do you want to do? It's outside of the box. You can get specific. You can find your niche community, and they're always going to be excited to welcome you in, and they're going to understand if you find something else that you enjoy more, or maybe you just didn't really click with that thing, and that's totally fine.
Mm-hmm.
But eventually you're going to find something that you love.
Yeah, and then you'll want to stick with it for as long as it's enjoyable.
Yeah. So like I said at the beginning, if you want the PDF of what we just talked about there that has like the actual steps that you can like fill in and write out yourself, you can print it out, or Savannah said you could just do it in the notes section of your phone. You're going to go to www.fitucoaching.com/gettheguide. So get the guide, no spaces. And then that'll give you the prompt. Put in your name and email. We'll send you that email with the PDF. Just download it, save it to your phone or your laptop, and then fill out that guide. If you need to, like if at the end of that guide you decide this activity that I didn't enjoy, I need to find a new one, you just re-download from the same email, get yourself a second guide, and go through the process again until you find something that you do love. If you need some help figuring out what that would be, or if you think like steel mace would be something that you want to try out, you can always set up a coaching call and we can chat. Whether it's mace or something that I don't know anything about, I can kind of help you through that process, at least at the beginning. And then if you want something that maybe isn't within my wheelhouse, I can maybe point you into the direction of how to find that. So you can go to fitucoaching.com again. This time, just no slashes or anything. Just go to the regular site, go to contact, set up a coaching call with me, and then we can chat in depth about all your goals and like what specific thing you could maybe try out. Other than that, make sure that you're subscribed to the podcast, like it, share it, tell your friends. Other people probably want to try to have a fun fitness routine that they enjoy. So if you find this guide helpful, make sure you give it to your friends, tell them about the podcast. They can listen to us chat. And yeah. Anything else you have to add, Savannah?
No, just find the fitness routine that fits you.
Oh, fits you. All right. We'll leave it there.
Yeah. Bye-bye.